Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Larry's Starting Lineup, part of the Top of the Incline Sports blog. And with me is the general manager of the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, the very clean Andrew Gardner. And I say that because I have to know if you recovered from your impromptu shower at the end of the broadcast this past Saturday when a couple of players decided, well, maybe you needed to clean up a little bit while you were talking to Rachel Stone on the sideline, and they hit you with the cold water Gatorade bath. You're okay now, right?
Oh, yeah. I narrowly outskirted the hypothermia that I could have suffered in the 88-degree weather if that was that game.
Oh, my. The thing is, when you're watching at home on AUDL TV, my wife and I are looking at the TV screen going, but he can't hear us to, turn around. We saw it coming at you, and it was like, well, here it goes.
I had no idea. I mean, usually you get doused with a Gatorade bath when you win a game. Right. So I think the players just wanted to, just cause trouble. That's all that was.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the season overall. This game coming up on this Saturday is the final game of the season, as well as the final home game of the season. And definitely some interesting developments over the season. At the very beginning of the season, it looked briefly for a little bit that Thomas Edmonds might not be back, and then all of a sudden he was there. Was there a particular key in getting Thomas back on the roster?
Yeah, you mean for the entire season, right?
Yeah, right, for the entire season.
Yeah, so a lot of respect to Thomas because Thomas knows what he can commit to a team. So it was just one of those very fortunate situations where he had some commitments open up, and I never have to doubt Thomas's willingness to play ultimate. He loves to play. That's basically what it came down to. And so when he felt like he could give a little bit more of his free time to the Birds, it was a pretty easy signing. So it was just one of those situations where preseason he didn't have the time to give to the Birds. Something opened up for him commitment-wise. And that was like one of the easiest decisions that we could have made. So we did clear it with the team first, just, hey, we're going to make a mid-season signing. But everyone knows the talent that Thomas brings to the team. So getting him on board was a huge boost for us. Obviously, I mean, the stats show it. What he does on the field shows it. He had that huge layout at Indy that's been played. Right. I'm sure you've seen on Twitter a bunch of times. So that was the story behind Thomas.
And it's right now as we get to the end of the season, it seems like a no-brainer, but Anson Reppermund got moved from the D-line to the O-line, and all of a sudden he's, right there in the thick of it, helping get the offense down the field. Who knew the Sky Marshal was also, good at getting the disc into the end zone?
Right. And I mean, Anson's just a good ultimate player. So he's really good at D, of course. That's sort of where he's made his career in the AUDL. He's top 5 all time in blocks. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or whatever it is, but if you look at blocks per game, he's right up there, maybe number 2. But he's just a really good ultimate player. So by shifting him to the O-line, who would have thought that a super tall, fast guy is also going to be good on the O-line? I mean, we all thought that, of course, being rhetorical.
And one player who really has impressed me this season, he's kind of stepped into that handler role quite a bit, and that's been Clint McSherry. He's in the top 10 with 3,431 throwing yards. He is definitely helping to get the disc down the field.
Yeah, Clint's awesome. So for those that don't know, Clint is one of we call them the Raleigh guys, right? So that's like the Dean Culver, the Ramsey Comusla, the Cam Bellando, and then, of course, Clint coming to us. And Clint just has been fantastic throwing the disc for us. He's like that sort of that anchor that's replaced John Mass. And you can't even really replace John Mass. He was one of those huge losses for us at the start of the season. So we were like, we need someone who's just going to be able to distribute. And Clint stepped in, and he doesn't practice with us, being with that big gap between Raleigh and Pittsburgh. So for him to do what he's doing without going to practices consistently is like a testament to just like that plug and play type of player that he is. So he's been fantastic for us. Can't say a nice enough good things about Clint and what he did for the team this year.
Most definitely. There's also been some other third-year players that have, to me, their game is improving, and that's been Pete Zaccardi, Connor Newell, Michael Dillard, Cam Bellando. They continue to impress. Are we seeing the next generation of Thunderbirds appear right before our eyes and developing and making a name for themselves in this league?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I've been on the Pete Zaccardi hype train though since day one. Like, as soon as he came in, like that kid's just absolutely electric. Like, I love what he brings to the table. Connor Newell is a cutter. Like, that's what his role was. We originally brought him as a cutter, and then we just really kind of lacked some handler depth. And we're like, Connor, you're going to handle, and he looks like a natural handler out there. That's a testament to, again, just the high ultimate IQ that Connor brings, and he's just a good ultimate player. It's the same thing that Anson did transitioning from D-line to O-line. When you can have versatile guys, they're going to start making a name for themselves. So, those players that you just named, yeah, we are seeing like the next generation of people who are coming up, and these guys are young too. They're young guys looking to get after it. We're really excited. I would put Charlie Vukovic's name into that conversation as well. Charlie really showed some flashes out there, and you're going to even see some younger guys, I think, make their presence known in the Chicago game upcoming. Jackson Vleck, he's basically like just out of high school. He was a senior in high school. He's going to make his AUDL debut. Super tall kid, has gobs of potential, but he's so young. So we're just getting started with this type of stuff, building into next season already.
Two things we can't teach. We can't teach height, and we can't teach speed. So it's good when you can find it, for your team.
Yep.
I came across a stat today. What some people may not realize about this season is the Thunderbirds have put up 208 goals, and they've allowed the opposition 224 goals. That's only really a 16-goal difference over 11 games. Maybe a completed huck there or one less throwaway per game, and we could be talking about, I think, a different season this year. And does the coaching staff and the players and you share that same optimism?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're optimistic. It's oh man, it's what a crazy stat. I really haven't even looked at the plus minus. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I guess when you think about it, we lost by 2 at Madison, and that's a team that was in the playoff hunt. We lost to Indy by 4. We basically had Indy on the ropes at their place, and I think ended up dropping that by 2. So it's all these close contests, but you got to be winning after the final buzzer sounds at the fourth quarter. So while we're super optimistic, I think next year going into it, we just got to figure out a way to close. We just got to find that fifth gear and close some games. But yeah, I think that the mentality from 2021, where we basically went 1-11, it was a really rough year, but we were playing really good competition. So going into it, we're like, okay, we played really good competition. We stuck with them. The same mentality was here. Yeah, maybe a bounce here, a bounce there, a catch here, a huck there. But hey, that's ultimate. And we didn't make those hucks and we didn't make those catches. So the win-loss record reflects that. But that's something, those are building blocks that we can build upon. So interesting stat. Yeah, you were right there, but a long way to go.
Now, going back to, you were alluding to one of the younger players just a moment ago, Martin Bustamante, Matt Montera, Charlie Vukovic, Ramsey Cope Musla. They all seem to be also making a name for themselves in AUD here this season. Any clear-cut rookie of the year in your mind out of those 4? Do you got somebody else you would like to throw in the mix for us to also keep an eye on?
I haven't done enough thinking as to like comparing and what rookie has stood out the most. So I'm not going to go there. Let's look at it. I'll tell you what, Larry, I'll let you on a little inside thing. We are going to be selecting our own team offensive player of the year. We're going to be doing our own team defensive player of the year, most improved rookie of the year. So we'll throw some accolades out. I'm sure you'll write a little article there.
I would love to. Yes.
On top of Incline Sports. So maybe Larry will break the story. We'll break it internally. I'll give you the inside story. You break who the award winners are going to be. But that's super important, right? To recognize all the hard work that the players have put in, maybe the wins and losses haven't quite worked out the way we want them to. But to recognize who's kind of stepping up to the plate, I think is super important. So I don't personally have like a rookie of the year specifically. I'd have to kind of take a look and see, but it's just because so many people put up so many great numbers and seasons and did different things that it would be hard to choose one off the bat.
Now, coming up this Saturday at 6 o'clock at J.C. Stone Field, the Chicago Union, they are 8-1-0. They are in first place in the Central Division. And what has been the key to their season, you think? They've moved up. They definitely have separated themselves from the Minnesota Wind Chill, the Madison Radicals, the Indianapolis Alley Cats. They seem to be one of the top teams across the board in the AUDL. What do you see? Well, let me ask this. What do you see in the Union that you'd like to see the Thunderbirds maybe also do here eventually to work into their game?
Man, that's a great question. So it goes back to some of what we were talking about. Chicago's got that height and they've got that speed. So they've already got the physical attributes there. But it starts with Pavel Giannis. I'm pretty sure I just saw a stat that he became the all-time AUDL single-season assist thrower. Something crazy like that. But he anchors it down, and then he's got really great receivers, and he's got teammates like Knight Goff and Paul Arters, and that team's been around for a while too. So Chicago's had a bit of consistency. I know they had a little bit of roster turnover. They had some guys like from like the Madison crew that have kind of moved on. But if you look at the championship weekend, they went the championship weekend last year. And so they brought a lot of that core back. So they know what it takes to win games. They've been playing together for a very long time. And what hurt us, like I said, is like Mass not being available. Mass was our center handler from 2015 until this past year when he got hurt. So Thunderbirds just really we need to focus more on consistency, having the same players year after year, building upon that success instead of sort of knocking everything down, redoing it, reestablishing things. That's been the biggest challenge in Pittsburgh. And so you look at what Chicago's doing in a team, like take Indianapolis, for example. So they're most likely going to get that 3 seed. It's been the same players time after time after time. It's your Cameron Brocks, it's your Nick Huttons, it's your Keegan North. Like they've been there forever. So that's a huge part of their success too. So sometimes it's like the definition of insanity, doing something over and over and over again with the same results. But it is technically working for Indy, and they did go to championship weekend in 2019. They defeated us at Indy. So I think just like a model of consistency, and that's part of what's really working for Chicago, on top of the fact that they're super tall and they're super fast.
The two things we can't coach, and
No.
Okay. And also, again, this coming weekend is the final home game of the regular season for the Thunderbirds at J.C. Stone Field, and it's going to be fan appreciation night. And I just wondered about any of the plans, any promotions, who might be up. Is it JD Downtown Dogs again as our vendor, or I already see a head shaking yes. So
we love big shout out to JD's Downtown Dogs. They come all the way downtown. They come up to North Park. They're going to stay open for a little bit after the game even. So Chicago players, Pittsburgh players will all be hanging out, eating dogs. It's going to be a good time. So if the fans want to stick around and kind of just like mix and mingle, that'll be a fun time. But in terms of fan appreciation night, yeah, lots of giveaways, more things thrown into the crowd. We're going to try to do some merchandise discounts, sort of just do some fire sales. So they'll just like do more fun things as we try to move into next season, but just really appreciate all the fans coming out every single week supporting the Thunderbirds. Sorry that the win-loss record isn't what we want it to be. That's like one of the uncontrollables sometimes it feels like, but that does matter to us, by the way, and it does bother me and bothers the organization. But sometimes there's nothing you can do about that. So we'll just keep moving forward and try to give everyone the best tank show. We're not giving up for the Chicago game either. So we get to play spoiler. I think Chicago still might be in the running for the 1 seed in the Central, and nothing sweeter than knocking off a team and maybe potentially making them go on the road for their
instead of playing at home. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the other good things about this season has been your sideline reporter, Rachel Stone, has been, a very nice addition to Matt Weiss on the AUDL TV broadcast. And hopefully we will also see her next season, back in the role on the sideline there. She has definitely added to the broadcast, because when I watch the Thunderbirds go on the road, you don't get a sideline reporter with everybody's broadcast. You're lucky if you even got announcers if you're in Detroit. You're just listening to the public address announcer, which being one, that's fine, but, you're there either to be the public address announcer or to do play-by-play, not necessarily the whole thing. But she's been really terrific this season, and I think that's been a great pickup.
Yeah, so Rachel is a coworker of mine at the Pittsburgh Penguins, and one of her passions is broadcasting and reporting, and so it seemed like a natural fit, right? I have a lot of customization, and I felt like it really would add to the broadcast. And this is just sort of like the beginning. I don't see any other AUDL team with a sideline reporter right now. So we're one of the first teams to do this. I think that I really want to have Rachel get more involved in the broadcast. So, when Matt Weiss has a specific question of, I wonder what's going on with Max Shepard down there. He seems like he got banged up on that last play. We can just send it right down to Rachel. Rachel is talking to him. Hey, Matt, I'm down here on the sidelines. It's just a cramp. Nothing to worry about. He's eating a banana. He's back out there. That's some like in-depth level reporting that I'm looking for versus just like the interviews that she's doing in between the quarters. But those have also been terrific too, because it gives some of our players that might not have an opportunity to talk a platform. Like I know she interviewed Kevin Mirabal Edmonds. We nicknamed him Massacre. He's a Venezuelan born player. And this was his AUDL debut, and that kid is just one of the most infectious personalities. You talk to Ken, he'll talk your ear off. Kid's unbelievable. So to get his personality in front of a camera because of Rachel Stone being a sideline reporter for us is awesome.
Very good. Now, before we wrap things up, I do have a league question for you. When you and I get together, I've always got something. And I'm going to go the other direction this time, because we've talked about the undefeated teams in the league right now. But we're going to go the other direction this time. The Detroit Mechanics are 0-10. Dallas Legion is 0-9. The Tampa Bay Cannons are 0-9. Is this really that good for the league to have this many teams without a single win? Plus, you have three more teams. The Portland Nitro, they're 2-7. Seattle Cascades, 2-9. The Ottawa Outlaws, 2-8. So you have basically 6 teams that either have 2 wins or no wins. Mm-hmm. And is it time for some type of draft, maybe like what they do in Major League Baseball or the NHL, the NFL, the NBA? Is there some way that the league can try to help these teams improve in any form? Is that anything that's been discussed at league meetings?
We are getting different teams making the playoffs. So while there are 4 or 5 teams that are maybe 2-7 or worse, and then I know that we talked about last time the 4 undefeated teams that we had. I think it was at the time Colorado, New York, Chicago. There might have been one Carolina at the time. Philadelphia just punched their ticket to the playoffs this year, which is the first time basically in a decade that they've been in the playoffs. They just clinched the 3 seed in the East. So, and we basically had a different champion almost every single year. So as long as you're still getting a different champion and there's sort of still some unknowns come playoff time, I think that's super important. There's so much roster turnover right now. Like Dallas signed one of our guys, Miles Cooper, is now playing for Dallas. He lives down there. A signing like that can almost give your team a whole win. Like that's how good of a player Miles is. It just takes a couple of players here and there. Dallas and Tampa are still playing. So one of those teams is going to get a win. So they play each other still this season. So that'll be interesting.
No, I didn't realize Dallas and Tampa Bay were going to face off. So yes, unless we're going to be tied at the end of regulation, somebody's got to win here.
100%. And and the Mechanics, I can't imagine being with the mechanics like organization and having to deal with that enormously long streak. And I'm sure that's a super big burden. In terms of storylines, though, I got to imagine that is one where people are now starting to tune in to mechanics games because they want to know, will they break the streak? So that game where Detroit came into JC Stone Field, we were eliminated from the playoffs. There was a weird, funky scenario in which we could have gotten in, but for all intents and purposes, we were eliminated. We treated that game like it was a Super Bowl. I mean, we flew in the Raleigh guys. Why? Because you just don't want to be the team that succumbs to the streak. So we put on all stops, and I know they circled us on the calendar, and they said, hey, Pittsburgh's going to be the team that we're going to beat, and we're just not going to let that happen. So is it bad? What can the league do? The league really can't do anything right now. Players are still have full-time jobs. They are basically amateurs. I mean, we are semi-pro, but they don't get paid enough to do this full time. So with that being said, you can't have a draft. We don't have trades yet. We can certainly encourage other owners and give other owners tips and tricks about, hey, how do you get a specific player? Because we want the quality of play to increase across the board. I think all owners can agree on that. It's just how we get there. And unfortunately, every year, you're going to have a couple of bad teams. The Detroit Lions went 0-16 in the NFL, and they're doing just fine.
Right. Well, I thank you for that. I just wanted, like I said, I wanted to get your thoughts because I didn't know how the league, when you were talking about the other owners, how they might feel about this, and the idea alone that you're talking to maybe these teams and offering them, as you said, tips and ideas of how they can try to improve their roster and everything. I think that's a good thing. At least you're looking out for those teams to try to help them get better. So, as you said, the whole level of play across the league goes up. All the boats rise in the tide.
Yeah, and if your audience is still like, they made it this far through the podcast, and if I can bore them just for a second, but there was a point in time where we were directly competing with another professional Ultimate League. Okay, it was MLU, Major League Ultimate, and there was basically two ways that we felt like we could beat out MLU. Number one was expansion, so rapidly expanding to as many markets as we possibly could and sort of putting our footprint in those markets, which we did excellently. But two, you need to have the best players, so you can't be viewed as like the minor leagues of the two pro teams. So the same concept applies. Just because MLU is no longer around doesn't mean we still don't want the best players. And there is still a club circuit out there. So it's really important for teams to continue to recruit, get the best players in the league, because after all, we are the professional sport of Ultimate.
Very good. And hopefully I'll get to see you all and all the professionals this Saturday at JC Stone Field. Let's remind the fans how they can get tickets and if they want to come and how they can go about doing that. One more time.
Go to pghthunderbirds.com. You can go ahead and buy a ticket. It will be a will call for you, so you won't even have to worry about those digital tickets that everyone's worried about in today's age. Paper ticket with a nice player on it. It's a keepsake. It's a souvenir. That's worth $10 alone. Frame it, do whatever you want, but we'll have hot dogs, music, entertainment, fun, and hopefully a win.
There we go. Upset the Union, and let's see where the apple cart ends up falling at here when they make up the bracket. So let's see that happen.
Yeah, that'd be great. Love it. Chaos.
Nothing but chaos. Larry's starting lineup.
Hey, if we win this game, we're making some tweet out there. We'll say, hey, I think that means we win the Central Division, right? You beat the number one seed, you just instantly win. That's how it works. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Chicago folks will find that very amusing.
Oh, yeah, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate your time. And thank you for tuning in and joining us here on Larry's Starting Lineup. And we'll see you next time. Okay. Bye-bye for now.
See you, Larry.